So I'm going to do you kids another favor. Rather than read chapter 14, you have to watch this video. It won't take too long, virtually painless. As we're watching, if I line my head just right, I'm a unicorn. Got to do it just right. So I don't know. It's kind of hard lining it all up. Anyways, chapter 14. Let's get down to business. Chapter 14 is another intercalary chapter. I'm sure you are well versed on what that means right now. I'm sure you're very tired of the intercalary chapters and how they kind of get in the way of the story, but they do add to the story at the same time, and it can get kind of confusing. Anyways, chapter 14. Chapter 14 begins with the Western land, nervous under the beginning change. The Western states, nervous as horses before a thunderstorm. So we're starting with a metaphor here and the idea that these states are nervous. Obviously, the horses being nervous, they can actually be nervous. That's not part of the metaphor. So the Western lands are nervous. Now, the reason why they're nervous is there are millions of people moving west, moving from the Midwest to California. And if you don't think that's that big of an idea, think of it like this. If everyone in like Pennsylvania and Kentucky and New York, they're all like, hey, we can't make a living here anymore. Let's go to Ohio. They've got jobs and stuff. And millions of people came to Ohio. It would be pretty awful for the people that already lived in Ohio. The competition for resources like jobs, housing, food would become almost unbearable. And what would happen is you would have a fight for survival between the people that already live in Ohio and want to have jobs and the people moving in that want those jobs. So that's kind of where that nervousness comes from. Plus, if you think about it, for the people that are moving, there's a lot of anxiety just in moving in general. If any of you have ever moved, you know that like moving is not a fun thing, especially if you're moving from one state to another or it's a long move. There's a lot of uncertainty. What's going to happen when I get there? What will the house be like? Will I have a house in the case of the Jodes? Will there be jobs? Am I going to die? Which was a real concern for these people. So there's a lot of anxiety, and you want to keep that in mind. Now, if we go to page 151, the bottom paragraph, we go for the idea where there's a change, okay? So there's a lot of anxiety, and the people are kind of on their own, but they start to change from that I to the we, which is something, it's a theme that we're going to talk a lot about in class, if we haven't already. So we get things like, for here I lost my land is changed. A cell is split, and from its splitting grows the thing you hate. We lost our land. So we're getting migrants together. They're joining in camps, and we're changing from I lost my land to we lost our land. Now, they still lost their land, so it's not that great, but it's that idea of togetherness. When people have loss and they can both kind of commiserate each other's loss, emotionally, it helps us out. It makes us feel better, even though technically we didn't get our stuff back. But they have a lot of commonalities, and they can all kind of pitch in. It's the idea that, if I have a little food and you have a little food, we all have food. So that's something that they're working for. And I just paused there and took a look back through the book. That's really all we need from chapter 14. So there you go. A little over 3 minutes. Didn't have to read anything. How nice of me. You're welcome.